Now in its second year of continuous operation, the Ukraine Airbridge is a partnership between Airlink, Global Medic, Flexport.org, and Air Canada. It was created to provide a cost-effective and dependable way to get critically needed Global Medic family emergency kits and additional relief supplies to displaced Ukrainians in Ukraine and Ukrainian refugees in Moldova and Romania. This project's impact and its continued success are powerful examples of what can be achieved when the private sector, philanthropic, and civil society work together in a collaborative and coordinated way, and where each party plays to its key strengths as an organization. It also aptly demonstrates the key components for a successful multi-country, multi-organization disaster response, those being dependable funding, a reliable NGO partner with local partners meeting identified community needs, and where logistics, international, transnational, and local are the keystone of the response, not an afterthought or accidental lucky bolt-on. In that regard, the Ukraine Airbridge serves as a model that all actors in the private sector, philanthropic sector, and civil society can learn from.
Flexport.org's experience managing the movement of humanitarian to some of the hardest to reach places on Earth, and specifically to Ukraine, along with our years-long partnerships with Global Medic and Airlink, allowed us to quickly sort out the operational intricacies to allow for a stable process of shipping the cargo. The generosity of Air Canada in providing discounted air freight allowed us to leverage the Flexport.org fund to pay for all the other associated costs, which range from trucking in Canada, document processing, customs filing, and the final delivery in Ukraine, Moldova, and Romania. Each individual shipment has more than a half dozen parties directly working together to ensure the quick and compliant movement of the cargo. And with weekly departures, we're planning or moving multiple shipments at once. The Flexport.org platform and our expertise in managing these disaster relief projects ensures that we can keep cargo flowing efficiently so it can get into the hands of those in need. We see this Airbridge as a prime example of the power of partnerships to benefit those in need, as each party involved can focus on their core competency while working towards a common goal.
Airlink's mission is to ensure that transport costs are not a barrier to NGOs responding to disasters. Through long-term partnerships and in-kind donations from airlines and freight forwarders, as well as cash donations from the public and businesses across the aviation sector, Airlink can provide free transport solutions for aid and responders, ensuring the right aid gets to the right place at the right time. With our partnership model of operations, Airlink has established airbridges in previous disasters. The essential benefit of an airbridge is that it affords NGOs predictability in transport, which allows them to plan and budget for the purchase of aid. This leads to a significant scaling up of operations to meet large-scale population-wide needs. In past disasters where Airlink has operated an airbridge, communities in need received critical, life-saving supplies quickly, on a reliable schedule, and in greater quantities than if the NGO had bought a transport solution on the open market.
So this is a family emergency kit. It's a box, and inside that box are solutions to problems that we know that families face when affected by crisis. The first solution is to ensure that we get people access to clean drinking water. This is often the difference between life and death, especially to young kids and the elderly. So mom is able to go to her water source, whether it's a well or the river or the stream, and collect the water and then pour it in this top bucket. And then gravity, not electricity, gravity, pulls it through a ceramic filter like a cartridge, and then clean drinking water is stored at the bottom. And then whenever mom wants to give her kids clean water, she can just touch that spigot and she's got clean water to ensure her family has clean water, or she can cook with it. We also have some room in the box. We put in a solar light because we know so many families just don't have access to light or electricity. And then hygiene items, especially soap. That's the most key item that we put in here. All those solutions go in that box, and then we get the aid out. Now let's look at what's happening in Ukraine. For 2 years, a very ugly war has raged on. 17 million people have been displaced, but so many people still live along the line of contact, and they don't have access to clean drinking water, let alone electricity. So it's important for us to get in and get this aid to them. We've worked day and night to drive the price down of all these items. In fact, volunteers come in, we buy these buckets in bulk. The volunteers drill holes in the items and do the assembly. We contract manufacture the cartridge. We even pack and assemble the kits ourselves and then put everything in and then get it ready to go by air freight. But the cost of that air freight, especially to places in Europe, is prohibitively expensive. We work so hard to drive these costs down that the logistics costs often actually outweigh the cost of the aid. And if you think of what's happening in Ukraine with millions displaced and then millions becoming refugees and people going into countries like Moldova and Romania, especially Moldova where they just don't have access to clean drinking water, or along the front lines of that war in Ukraine where they just don't have clean drinking water, kits like this save their lives. But if it's so expensive to ship, it makes it really hard. And it's a conundrum that so many NGOs like us face. And that's why we're lucky to be able to partner with an agency like Airlink. They go out and they get free airlift from all kinds of partners and coordinate the logistics. So in our case, we've got an Airbridge that's been running for 2 years now. Every week, 900 of these kits get picked up and then flown into Vienna and then trucked across the border up into one of our forward bases, and then we literally get them into the hands of families that need them. So far, we've distributed over 30,000 kits to help 30,000 families. So we're grateful to our friends at Airlink because you help us get the aid where it's needed.
The first Airbridge began in July 2022, and the program is funded until April 2024. In total, that's weekly shipments for 53 continuous weeks. To date, the cargo moved totals 350,000 kilograms of humanitarian aid, an amazing 43,235 family emergency kits, in addition to 5,519 emergency food kits, additional medical supplies, and even firefighting gear.